maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I'm going to be reviewing The Wise Man's Fear, which is book number 2 in the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. This is amazing. Let me just say that before I say anything else. This book is absolutely amazing and I loved it, and I cannot speak more highly of this story and this book. So the first book in this series I have done a review on. It's called The Name of the Wind, and it's basically where we meet this character called Kavoth, who is known across the land for being this superb hero who's done countless deeds of good and inspires people and young boys all across the land to do heroic deeds, and he's just a wonderful character. But we meet the real Kavoth. We meet the real man behind all of the stories and the tales and the rumours, and it's basically the story of his life told from his point of view. So the first book is the first day of him telling his story, and the second book is the second day of him telling his story. The third book will be the third day. That's not out yet, but it should be coming out in the next year or two, I hope, because I want it. So basically this book is just more brilliant storyline, like the first one. The first book and the second book together are wonderful. They are both very, very long. It's a very long read for sure, but it's 150% worth it. It's such a good series. I think that the reason I love this series so much is because the world building is so brilliantly detailed and described in such a way that it's not boring because it's so much detail, but it's really interesting because it's told from the point of view of this main character, who is rumoured to be such an interesting and incredible character, but we kind of see the background and we see the way that things have kind of been exaggerated over the years into these massive rumours, and we see how they started, what started that rumour, what started the extraordinary tale going around and that song going around. And it's got a lot of very typical fantasy tropes within it, but it just is done in such a way that it's so interesting and it takes a whole new fresh twist on this. And I love it. I cannot even speak more highly of it. There are so many new characters who we meet in this story, and basically the first book is all about his life from when he was a child up until when he kind of gets to a young teenager, and then this book is all about his young teenage life into his young adult life. So we see quite a lot of big changes in his personality in this one, and we see how a lot of things affect his changes in personality, and we meet a lot more characters who have a big impact on his life and whom he really learns from and really develops as a character and a person. That was a really, really wonderful thing to see. There are loads of different cultures and personalities and people who are within this storyline who just are so fascinating. The way that it's been considered and the intelligent detail in the writing is so precise and beautiful and meticulously wonderful, and there is nothing I can say more highly. I love the different cultures. Some of the cultures who we come across within this story are the Edema Ra, who are basically this kind of travelling troupe who go around. They were really interesting, the dynamics. We see a lot more of them in book number 1, and I really loved book number 1 for that, but in this one we do see snippets of that as well. Also, we come across the Adem, who are basically a fighting warrior class, a fighting warrior tribe, and they train day in, day out to live by the Letheni, which is basically their code of how they should live. It's like the equivalent of our laws, but it kind of is an internal thing. It's so cool, you have to read it, it's so good. And then we also come across Felurian and the Fae, who are basically fairies, so that's a really cool dynamic to add into the mix as well, because obviously that's mystical, that's magical, and up until this point the magic that we've seen has not been very massive, but in this storyline we see a lot more alchemy and we see a lot more kind of calling of names, and we see a lot more mystical, magical, fairy stories, and just so much more fun and vibrant, exciting things happen. We also meet different classes of nobility around the world that he travels around. He does a lot more travelling in this. He travels further afield in the later half of this book, and that's where we really see all of these different kind of sets of society, and it's just such a good book, and the whole landscape for every scene that we sort of come across is just very, very well developed. Everything has been so beautifully written in place that it's almost 100% believable that this is a real world that he's just copied this story down from. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys because I think you should definitely pick up The Name of the Wind and then this if you've not read it already. I would highly, highly recommend the series, and I would love to know what you guys think. But if you are going to leave spoilers, please put spoiler at the top of your comments so that no one else gets spoiled. Thank you so much. And I'm in love with this story. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I also gave 5 out of 5 stars to the first one. I have done a review of that, so I will link that down below for you guys to go and check out. But please, please let me know in the comments what you thought of this, because this is highly, highly wonderful, and I cannot wait to read more from Pat Rothfuss in the future, because I'm sure it's going to be just as brilliant. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little chat about the